Imagine a simple prank escalating into something that could chill your bones. KSI and the Sidemen, masters of internet hijinks, decided to spend a night in an infamous haunted mansion. Just for the laughs, right? But then things took a sinister turn, a loud crash in the dead of night, flickering lights and whispers coming from empty rooms. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when one of them mysteriously vanished, gone without a trace. And as the remaining members scrambled through the night, they uncovered secrets about this mansion that were never meant to be unearthed. What could possibly cause a joyful night of mischief to turn into a nightmare? Let me take you back to where this all started. Picture this, a chilly autumn evening, the moon casting ghostly shadows over the sprawling grounds of the infamous Clifford Hall. This wasn't just any haunted house. It was the most talked about ghost spot in the region, with stories of restless spirits and a cursed past. And who better to take on this eerie adventure than KSI and the Sidemen? Known for their wild storytelling and camaraderie, the gang was all set for a night of spine-tingling fun. Joined by KSI, Simon, Harry, Ethan, and the others, the plan was simple. Document their night in the manor, capturing every scream and laugh. But Clifford Hall was not just a derelict building of creaking floors and cobwebbed corners. It had a personality, a presence that demanded respect. And as they approached the entrance, torches in hand, little did they know they were stepping into a world where the rules of reality didn't apply. The evening began with a burst of laughter and anticipation. KSI's goofy antics had everyone in stitches as they ventured from room to room. Each member brought their own flair to the exploration. Simon was the navigator, mapping out their route through the dusty corridors. Harry, ever the skeptic, challenged every creak and draft. Ethan, with his easy laugh, managed to lighten even the creepiest of moments. The group set up cameras at strategic points determined to capture any spectral activity. They even held a mock seance in the dining hall, complete with a wooden table and flickering candles. The atmosphere was electric, charged with both excitement and a touch of fear. But as the night wore on, the dynamic subtly shifted. You see, something about the mansion started to feel off. A damp chill crept in and whispers seemed to drift through the air, just beyond the edge of hearing. Around midnight, the mood started to change. The laughter faded, replaced by a growing unease. It was subtle at first, a shadow where there shouldn't be one, the faintest hint of laughter echoing down the corridor from unseen mouse. KSI joked about the mansion being in on their prank, but even he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. As they regrouped in the grand foyer, the air felt heavier, almost oppressive. The clock ticked steadily, its sound amplified in the silence. They decided to split up into pairs to cover more ground. A classic horror movie, right? But as they ventured deeper into the mansion's bowels, they noticed the temperature dropping significantly. The air turned icy, breath forming misty clouds with each exhale. And then there was the library. The room everyone had heard whispers about. A place where reality seemed to warp. And that's when everything started to unravel. As KSI and Simon wandered into the library, an unsettling chill crept down their spines. Old tomes lined the shelves, and the air was thick with dust and something else. Something intangible. Suddenly, Simon froze. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. KSI strained to listen. Faint whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, nonsensical, yet insistent. With every step, the whispers grew louder, more desperate. And then it happened. A book flew off the shelf, slamming onto the floor with a deafening thud. They both jumped back, hearts racing. Elsewhere, Harry and Ethan encountered their own mystery, a locked door with strange symbols carved into it, symbols that matched those they had seen in old photographs of the mansion's former inhabitants. Was it a warning, or perhaps a promise of what lay beyond? Fear gnawed at their bravado, and every nerve screamed to leave. But could they? It was as if the mansion itself demanded their presence. Wow, this story is getting intense, right? If you're as hooked as I am, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more thrilling tales like this one. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. The night is far from over, and things are about to get even more spine-chilling. Just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, the power went out. Total darkness enveloped the mansion, save for their flickering flashlights. Panic set in as each Sideman called out to the others, their voices echoing through the halls. It was chaos. In the confusion, KSI realized Simon was missing. A pulse of terror coursed through him like never before. They retraced their steps, calling out, but it was as if the walls absorbed their cries. Meanwhile, Harry and Ethan managed to pry open the mysterious door, revealing a hidden stairwell leading down into blackness. Against their better judgment, they descended, driven by curiosity and dread. At the bottom, they found a room that appeared untouched by time, filled with old, rotting furniture and symbols painted on the walls. And there, in the corner, a dusty mirror reflected something. A figure that seemed to move independent of their actions. They watched, transfixed as the reflection smiled back at them. The atmosphere was suffocating. Back upstairs, KSI's heart was pounding as he tried to reason with the impossible situation. The mansion seemed to hum with an energy that was both ancient and alive. Desperate, he retraced his steps to the library, the place where they last saw Simon. And then, amid the oppressive silence, he heard it, a faint knocking sound, rhythmic and deliberate. It was coming from behind a bookcase. He rushed to the noise, and with all his might, he pushed the massive bookcase aside to reveal a narrow passage. He hesitated, but then forced himself through, heart pounding like a drum in his ears. And there stood Simon, trapped in a tiny room, bewildered but unharmed. "I swear I just turned around and the door was gone," Simon said, still shaken. As they reunited with the others, the mansion's energy seemed to shift, as if satisfied somehow. The whispers faded and the air lightened as if the house had released a long-held breath. They emerged from Clifford Hall into the cold dawn light, exhausted but relieved. Each carried the weight of the night's experience, marked by both newfound respect for the supernatural and the enduring bond of friendship. The footage they captured was both thrilling and haunting, replayed endlessly in their minds. The Sidemen sat on the steps, silent, each processing the surreal encounter in their own way. They had arrived as friends on a carefree adventure, but had left with shared secrets and tales of fear that would bond them even more tightly. Simon chuckled, breaking the silence. Let's maybe pick a less haunted spot next time? Laughter erupted, relieving the tension. It was over, but would they ever truly free themselves from the shadows they encountered at Clifford Hall? Each agreed the night changed them. Some fears dim, but some echoes remain. So what would you have done if you were in their shoes? Do you believe in haunted places, or is it all just in our heads? Let me know in the comments below. And if you love this spooky adventure with KSI and the Sidemen, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more exciting stories. See you in the next tale.